edition of Uncensored Live with Lindsey Beckham, Sean Yurkaron, and myself, Clay Edwards. They are host and co-host of Crossing the Aisle with Sean and Lindsey every Monday through Friday, noon to 1. I'll get these times right. Noon to 1 on WYAB 103.9 FM here in Central Mississippi, as well as streaming worldwide on their YouTube, Facebook. Where y'all on YouTube and Facebook? Is that it?
Yeah, just YouTube and Facebook. I guess we're going to go to X.
Yeah, we got to add.
Week,
we got to add the X account.
Yeah, I'd definitely do that. I was shocked at how well we did there last night compared to the other, at least in live time. So that's Crossing the Aisle with Sean and Lindsey. You can find their YouTube and Facebook pages, and I'm assuming they stream into their personal pages tonight. I don't know, but anyhow, if you're watching it there, you know where you're watching it at, so continue to watch it there. And, of course, I'm Clay Edwards, host of The Clay Edwards Show every Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m., same channel, 103.9 FM. And, of course, if you're watching it on one of my social media platforms right now, that's where you can watch it every Monday through Friday morning, same time, same place, 7 a.m. to 9. We do this every Sunday through Thursday. This is our second full week doing all of this. So we're happy to see everybody starting to roll on in here. Hello to Junk watching on YouTube. Hello to Raccoon Man 60 on YouTube. I just love to know how people come up with their, because most, like your YouTube name is typically a spinoff of your email address, unless you otherwise change it.
Yeah.
So anybody that has a Gmail, automatically comes with a YouTube, whether you know it or not. So it's always interesting to see people's YouTube names because people will have these Gmails forever, and then they'll start using or start commenting on YouTube videos, and that is the name that they're using because they haven't gone and changed it. Like,
I was Sparkling Dreamer 03 for the longest time.
Well, back in the AOL chat room days, I was Bud Lightaholic 69 at AOL.com. True story.
Jesus.
When I first opened up Crazy 8, and I was booking some of the biggest bands in the world at the time, like Papa Roach and Afro Man, when these people had number one hits. I was literally doing all my emails and back to forth with these big booking agencies as Bud Lightaholic 69. I was like, I probably need to get another email address. So it became Club Crazy 8 at AOL.com.
That's hilarious. I love it. That was that was the MySpace name I had back in the day, and the Yahoo email address. And it just kind of carried on until I finally was like, okay, I'm old enough now where this has to go.
My two MySpace names was Redneck Rockstar, and it was so fitting, and Made of Scars. I always liked that one. That was a good Stone Sour song called Made of Scars. I just made that my MySpace name.
Isn't there a way you can retrieve your old MySpace account?
I think MySpace still exists. You just go log into it somehow
or something.
But my old one, my good one, I deleted for some reason, going through a breakup or something. I was like, I'll show her. Deleted my MySpace. That was a thing that we did back then. Oh, we'll punish them by deleting our MySpace.
You got mad because you weren't on somebody's top 8. I bet.
That's it. Or somebody else was on their top 8.
I used to get so mad at my friends when they would take me off the top 8.
Well, the kids today have no idea what it was like to be rejected. Finally, I remember that they went as high as having a top 48. It took up basically the whole side of your page.
And then Facebook deliberately never had that, if I remember right. They never had a top friends list.
No, and so now it's just a big conspiracy about how people end up over there.
Yeah,
just like it is.
His name Tom. He was everybody's number one friend or whatever.
Yeah.
Tom is your buddy. Yep, that's right.
Corey just commented, "Honk if you MySpace," and that's a hilarious story. We were during the peak MySpace time. We went down to New Orleans for a trip that I frankly don't know how any of us made it back in anything but a body bag. He had a Nissan Xterra, and we thought it would be funny to shoe polish on the back window. Honk if you MySpace.
Honk
if you MySpace, and man, it was so funny on the way down there. We was honking and waving and having a good old fucking time. And man, on the way back 3 days later, hungover, feeling like death, people looking at us. We passed a biker gang and we got Honk if you MySpace on, looking gay as hell. I was like, this shit ain't funny anymore. We need to get the Honk if you MySpace off here now.
Do y'all remember ASL? Age, sex, location that you would say in the chat rooms?
Yes.
You don't remember that?
I don't think I do.
Lindsey, how old were you and how old were you in these chat rooms?
Yeah.
No, I remember having AOL dial-up when I was in, 7th grade or something. But we would sneak in. We would stay up late, and it was the extra bedroom at my house. My friends would come over, and we would get on these chat rooms and download music from when it was illegal. I don't. What was LimeWire? I always use LimeWire.
Huh?
Napster was before that, right?
Yeah, I was too young for Napster. I didn't know Napster, but I use LimeWire.
Yeah.
I shared a meme the other day. It was like, kids today will never understand how this gave your computer instant AIDS.
Oh,
It
God.
did. Oh my gosh. And then it would like slow down. And then you'd have to get off if your parents wanted to use the phone. It was horrible.
Yeah,
Kids have no idea. Struggle.
I was in college in 1999, and so at first we were doing that with the dial-up, but my roommates were computer science engineers, like the three of them on campus. At that time, it was like a new thing to do.
See,
And,
this is why you weren't in chat rooms, because you were like reading weird history books because you're
well, no, I'm just saying. Well, we got Roadrunner, the cable, before anybody did, so we were just
we did too. It was fabulous. I cleared my whole calendar one weekend to stay home when we got Roadrunner. I kid you not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it took forever to make a CD, burn a CD.
Not when you had Roadrunner though.
Well, I don't even know what that is. I thought Roadrunner was like Looney Tunes.
No, that was like
Xfinity or Comcast, whatever. Time
Warner Cable. Yeah, that you could download the songs real quickly and then you could burn them. It
was called a DSL.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Isn't that right? When it had a different name other than it was like a DSL or something.
Something like that. Yeah, I just can't. I mean, I remember just calling it the cable modem. I think that's what we called it, if I remember correctly.
I think back now about those people I was talking to in those chat rooms. I was like, I wonder how many old men sitting there were talking to these young girls.
Lots.
I had no idea.
All of them were old men sitting there.
There's nothing more 2000s than a Nissan Xterra. I meant to say that when you were saying that,
Oh yeah,
that was like the most 2000 car I can think of.
But that
like
was
2000s era car.
That was the popular one.
Everybody had one of those.
I had a Montero Sport. Do you remember those?
Yeah,
I do remember that.
The Mitsubishi. Those have actually aged pretty well. I didn't care a whole lot for them then, but me and Fred Shanks both like weird 90s, 2000s retro-y vehicles like that, kind of weird vehicles. And we were talking about Montero Sports the other day. One popped up for sale or something, and it had like a little lift on it and some oversized tires. It wasn't too tacky at all. It was just meaty enough. Looked sort of like an urban assault vehicle. I'm like, man, that looks really, really good.
I still know where it is. It's in Yazoo City. I know who has it. I still know exactly where it is.
That's neat. My neighbor out here in Brandon has a Porsche SUV that's jacked up. It's the one with the V8, and it's jacked up a little bit. And it's got like big oversized tires. It looks like a zombie apocalypse vehicle. It looks so badass. I stopped him out on the road one day. I was like, hey man, I just waved him down just to tell him his vehicle was badass. He looked like he could give two shits less what Clay Edwards thought about his vehicle. I just thought it was like a car guy thing, man. It was like if you customize your vehicle, if somebody stops you to tell you got a badass vehicle, I thought you were supposed to be like, yeah, man, thank you. At least I do.
Seems like
that's like the ultimate. That's like the ultimate props, somebody's stopping you to tell you got a badass vehicle, and he could have seemed like he cared less. Maybe I caught him at a bad time, in defense.
Yeah, that happens sometimes.
Yeah. Well, it is what it is. It's a badass vehicle. My mind was not changed through our awkward conversation.
What kind of car did you have, Sean? What was your first car?
It was a 1985 Ford Bronco. That was my first car. Yeah. 1985. It was pretty cool. I mean, I didn't hate it. I wish I had it back.
Yeah.
Those old Broncos are great. But yeah, that was it.
Yeah. Fred said a Ford Probe GT. Man, those were so cool. The Probe GTs, the first body style though, not the second one. The second one looked a little bit too much like a Geostorm, a bigger Geostorm. The first body style Probe GT looked real good. I really liked it. And I will say though, I got my license in 92, around 89, 88, 89, when Geostorms first came out. I thought they were the coolest vehicle. I wanted one so bad, a Geostorm, or I guess actually that would have been around 91. I wanted a Geostorm. I don't know whatever the GT version was. It wasn't called a GT though. I actually watched a little quick 15-minute documentary the other night on YouTube about the rise and fall of Geo.
Really?
It was actually pretty interesting. And
So
the tractor was real popular.
I'm guessing the Probe GT wasn't a squatted truck.
No, I don't think so. Yeah, but after then
Y'all didn't laugh. Y'all didn't even joke.
All right, it was it fell flat.
Fred got my joke. I bet
Fell
he's
flat.
laughing wherever he is.
Yeah, then I progressed my senior year. My dad bought me the 1996 Mustang, and I still love that car. And my sister wrecked it, so that's what. I'll
Hey,
probably
I went to Google to find a picture of the probe, and actually something, because I never look at Clarion Ledger, but something popped up as a recommended article here. We have some breaking news, guys.
what's that?
Jackson Mayor John Horn scraps Lumumba era park plan at property linked to bribery case. You know, that shenanigans they announced there in the last couple of weeks where they were going to do the pole at Fair Street.
Oh, I thought.
Mhm.
Remember, they were going to put a green space and a skate park and all this other crap that we said was never going to happen.
Right.
But remember, they also said they were going to put like an amphitheater out of the zoo.
Yeah. You know, I think they all have a better chance of catching AIDS. Well, actually, if you look at the statistics, they definitely have a better chance of catching AIDS. Let's see here. I can't share more than okay. I'm calling an audible here, and I'm pulling up this article on Clarion Ledger.
Yeah.
Guys, we did discover last night that this channel, if you're watching on YouTube, does accept super chats. So I'm just throwing that out there. I'm not saying we won't read your chats either way, but if you want to guarantee your chat gets highlighted and read, those super chats are a thing over there on YouTube, and much appreciated to everybody who has it. And that does go to my YouTube, but we will at some point. You got to make $100 on YouTube before they'll send you anything. You don't just automatically get it. But maybe we can throw a little beer fest or a little lunch or something one day with some of the super chats. You know. Anyway, I don't want to speak for everybody, but
no, that would be cool. That'd be really cool.
I'm all for throwing the money back in and having a good time with it. So let's see here. Did that pop up, Sean?
Yep, that's up there.
Over there. Is it? I need to do a split screen here where I can see two things at one time. Well, I can't do that, but anyway, let's see. That way I can actually see what's on the screen at the same time.
You had it, or to go back, you had the.
There we go. That's weird. Oh, I know what I got to do. I got to put it back over there.
Yeah.
All right. What's it doing on the bottom of the screen there? That looks kind of weird. It's just like it's only eating that whole. It's the way you got it. Either way, it don't matter. I'm just reading something here. Oh, here we go. So, headline: Jackson Mayor John Horn scraps Lumumba era park plan at property linked to bribery case. A vacant stretch of concrete in downtown Jackson, once earmarked for a skate park, pickleball and volleyball courts, a community stage, and other public amenities that no one would have ever used. I added that part. Will no longer be developed as the Pulse at Fair Street. Instead, Mayor Horn plans to tear up and improve the site, now a crumbling weed-filled makeshift parking lot across from the Jackson Convention Complex, and convert it into a functional, upgraded parking area for visitors to the convention center. Imagine that, doing something so simple that makes sense, that it's needed for so long down there. You realize there's not a single dedicated parking lot to the convention center. It's just the foundations of former buildings they tore down. If you really think about that and let that soak in. Now, there is that parking garage across from the Thalia, but just aesthetically, how terrible that looks when you go down there and there's nothing but all this uneven, multi-tiered former foundations that people have to park on. Kind of continuing real quick here, just says, we think there's a better use for that property, Horn said in a phone interview Monday. So our plans are to convert the funds that have been dedicated to the Pulse to the demolition, which is underway. Then we'll come back with a parking opportunity for folks that are patronizing the convention center. The move represents a sharp pivot from a proposal made just months ago under former Mayor Lumumba and then Planning and Development Director Jahi Keaton. That plan, unveiled in January, envisioned a 3-phase development on 7.75-acre site, including a vendor park, pavilions, food truck space, and a leisure district with open container alcohol rules. It came on the heels of a major federal bribery indictment tied to the site involving Lumumba, Jody Owens, Aaron Banks, blah, blah, blah. All at the heart of the charges. I'm seeing if there's anything relevant beyond that. The site bordered the... All right, so nothing really extra there, just kind of how much money. It says the council had already approved $1.5 million for the Pulse, with an additional $600,000 slated for the community development block grant funds. Originally, Lumumba and Keaton said the Pulse could generate $800,000 in the first year. Yeah, could, but absolutely wasn't going to.
Along with all the other things that he said that he could do and didn't come to fruition.
Well, Lindsay, it's like we said. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you out there, but it's like we said. Look, Jackson is 90% black. It's like the It's like the frisbee golf thing at the
That's
at the
exactly what I was
zoo.
about to I was like, what about the golf?
Guys, better watch out. We're gonna get attacked.
But that's exactly like you read my mind because that's exactly what I was about to say. That's what it would be.
You're 90% black and you're throwing a frisbee golf thing and you're talking about pickleball. These are the two of the whitest recreational sports known to men. And I'm not saying don't do multicultural things to get people down there. I just think don't invest into fixed property like that to do it. A course, do events that may bring people down. You don't have to do fixed ordeals because most white people will do anything that black people will when it comes to sports, right?
Yeah, that's
Black
true.
black people, generally speaking, and I mean this is a compliment. Black people, do not take this as an insult, aren't necessarily following white people's lead into some of our dumb crap like this.
Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it that way.
Weren't
But that's
there like?
true.
I mean, didn't the owners or the people who were running that place said that it was bringing in tons of people to have those tournaments?
They lied.
International tournaments is what they said. Yeah, they were very angry about our coverage of that.
Passionate about that.
Yeah, that was amazing. But I mean, I think any outsider, you could see that was a really stupid idea. That was just something, that I mean, I guess the best part about it, at least it cleaned up that space. So if you want to look at positive, it made it look nicer next to the zoo. Yes, that's a positive. That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah. So I mean, but anyway,
I mean, I'm trying to look at it. Jackson cutting the grass is like a hard thing to do around here. So
you're just trying to make that glass half full, huh?
Yeah, exactly.
Look, I love some of the stuff that Horn's doing. It just these are common sense things. And Sean, I've had this, and Lindsay, I apologize. Me and Sean have talked so much on the radio. I just always reference back to Sean and I's conversation when I say Sean here and I point him out individually.
Sean
because of our conversations on the show. It's not me leaving you out of the conversation, I promise, or ignoring you or anything like that. I just want to put that out there. I don't want to seem like I'm ignoring you being there. And I'm saying that for the people in the comments too. I don't want people to think I'm just shunning Lindsay here. It's not the intention. Sean and I have talked about this for so long that if you just come in as a mayor and you just quit doing the wrong things, like just quit intentionally doing the wrong things, just come in and just put it on cruise control a little bit. Just let it run itself. The city could have run itself better than Lumumba.
Yeah, the one that I always, and thanks, Mike Magazine, we appreciate that. Hey, y'all,
thank you so much.
The one example, the glaring one that I used on your show all the time, Clay, was because I live real close to Riverside Drive over here, and they failed to pay the construction contract on time. And there was like a clause in the contract for late payments that it ended up costing them another like $800,000, something close to $1 million, because they couldn't pay the bill on time, which is something you think would be rather simple and that the city should be able to at least just pay the bill on time. But they couldn't do that. So they cost residents another $1 million because they were that's what our
incompetence will do.
Incompetence, right?
Yep. Yeah, it's phenomenal. It really is. And like I say, man, that's why I've said, now look, I'm going to talk a little crap because I'm going to do what I do. But I've said I'm going to give John Horn a year minus any just absolute ridiculousness, mainly with his hires and just crazy decisions. But I'm not going to blame these murders on incompetence and all that stuff. I'm going to give it a little bit. Let him get situated. Let him get his people in place. Find the restroom at City Hall. Time to get settled. I figure, it takes a year to really get things going. That's why I'm a little surprised that so many people are so adamant about Patel and Bongino. They ain't done nothing in the FBI. They ain't one thing they've done. Well, man, they imagine that's like turning the Titanic around in a swimming pool up there. It's going to take a few pivots to get that thing right. And I feel the same way about Jackson here. Like, let's give the guy a minute to get settled in, let the people get the ball rolling. Like, I'm shocked that they've got this demolition on this parking lot thing going this quick. I mean, this is like based on the way contracts and stuff work. Who is doing it? How do they get something approved that quick? So I'm proud. I'm happy for it.
Maybe there's no handcuffs. Maybe the handcuffs.
It's like the red tape got cut up and thrown away. I'm shocked, especially from a Democrat administration.
They busted drug dealers and started a parking project in 1 week. I mean, that's more than 8 years of the Lumumba administration that they've done in 1 week.
I'm being dead serious here. Golf clap. Real talk. I am truly surprised and very satisfied. I mean, I like it. I really do. I think it's a
But it hasn't been long. It hasn't been long. Give it a
no,
minute.
but it's a sign of things going in the right direction.
Yeah, let's hope it stays that way. I mean, I hope that it does. I really do.
Hey, look, it's actually a convention center project that is legal.
Y'all
So
give
that's
me
a good
y'all give
one.
me 2 seconds. Y'all go ahead. 2
I said,
seconds.
so that's a convention center project that's legal, which is a change of pace for Jackson because we're used to
To the illegal ones,
yeah, we're
to
used
the
to
ones
convention center projects that are not legal.
that are the FBI,
Right.
trying to see who's going to take the bribe.
I mean, they actually got a parking lot built, which I think is actually more useful than the hotel that nobody was going to go to anyway. And it was legal, and there was no there's no bribes, there's no yachts, there's no strip clubs. It's an amazing thing that we can do when people are competent.
Well, it's funny
And
because they talked about this big complex and hotel and whatever you want to call it. But as long as there's so much crime in Jackson, it's really hard to build anything that does well
yeah,
because people are afraid to visit.
yeah, no, I mean, I think that's part of it too. I mean, obviously, there's a negative perception of Jackson that's been going on for years, even before Lumumba. Maybe with that'll improve the Capitol Police, new administration. You never know what can happen. I mean, mayors can change a city. If you look back to the '90s, Rudy Giuliani transformed New York City from what it was.
Well, look at what
And
Mayor Mary's done for Madison. Whether you like her or not, she's definitely made it safe and
but but I don't think that's a good example though into what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, she's done a good job. I'm not disputing that, but I mean, it was kind of like that time was a rural piece of land out there. That was a small city, and it's safe. Yes, I agree, but it wasn't crime ridden at any time in its history.
We talked about this the other night when we were comparing Mayor Mary to Jake Wyndham and the difference in rebuilding versus starting from scratch. And I think they're both very, very commendable. And I guess if John can do anything net positive for Jackson, it's going to look way better, in my opinion, than anything somebody who started from scratch did. And I'm not saying that I don't want to discount what Mayor Mary's done, but if John can come in and turn Jackson around and lure some big economic development in the first year or two, he could win mayor of the year. But I've been saying that whoever came in behind Chalkaway, if they weren't just a militant left-wing nut job who was just an activist type, like his sister or somebody like that, if they weren't that kind of idiot, they were going to look like the greatest mayor ever, because all it was going to take was just quit doing the wrong things right and just let it run itself. Do what has traditionally worked. You didn't have to be a rocket scientist, engineer, or astronaut. If you just quit screwing things up intentionally, it was going to be like a scar. It was going to begin to heal.
Well, when you stepped away for a moment, Clay, I was talking to Lindsay about how a mayor can actually really have an impact and change a city's trajectory. A city that's been crime ridden. I use New York City as an example. Prior to Rudy Giuliani, New York City was having a massive crime problem in the 70s and 80s, and he transformed the city through that broken windows policing stuff.
They basically invented the term, right?
Yeah, and it revolutionized New York, made Times Square safe again. Like, it was really dangerous in the 70s, especially. And his leadership really changed the city. So that it just I think if John Horn if he does those things, he could possibly transform the look of Jackson and how people feel about Jackson. I think it could happen if he's the right guy, and if he keeps on doing these things. It's been done before.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited about it. It's just the little projects like this, the police, and I'm telling you, man, that police bust. And I saw somebody up here, was it Patch, said, I heard they didn't arrest anybody in the bust at Flag Chapel. Did you hear different? I thought they arrested somebody. They didn't put any names or pictures out there, so maybe you're right. But surely they didn't just pick up a bunch of drugs out of somewhere and nobody get arrested.
they put the name of the gun.
I mean, they said it was a bust. I don't know what it would be otherwise. So, I mean, I'm not trying to sound like a smart ass there, but I mean, literally. But you're right. They didn't release any names or photos. So I was so excited about them doing a big bust that I didn't actually recognize the fact that they didn't attach any names or photos with it. That is kind of awkward, but maybe they're using those people as informants or CIs or whatever, and they didn't want to put their faces out there.
Yeah.
But just the fact that they put the picture and they had the wood JPD badge logo that was made for putting in photos and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was really impressed. I don't know when the last time they did that was. Like, if you go back and look at their social media, I bet you there's not one on there at least in the last 5 years.
Well, I mean, they said it's an ongoing investigation, but they had a search warrant to go into the home. So they must have known who they were looking for.
Yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. It was a bust. I'll take it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited about what I mean. It does feel like a different city after 2 weeks, like just with like there's actual hope and things are getting done, and that's really important. I mean, and you can see it's not like John Horn is George Washington or anything. I'm not saying that. It's just somebody that's mildly competent, and maybe he's more than mildly competent. I don't know, but it's all it took. I think it kind of goes to your point, Clay, about that's all you needed to do from the to be a step up from the Lumumba administration, because that's how bad it was. And I think we're seeing that. And it's a lot easier to go from the bottom to the top, right? That's always like the easier thing, is you can see notable progress. When things are that bad, you can only go up. And so I think we're seeing that, and that's pretty good.
Yeah. Clayton Duncan says he works on 80 and noticed a change in JPD the last few weeks. They're actually policing now. Yeah, look, man, police presence will make a huge difference. Just seeing the cop cars will, in fact, make a huge difference. People always go, police can't predict when somebody's going to kill each other. They can't stop the killings. They don't know what's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. But there's so much other crime you can prevent by being present.
Yeah. That's
And
what
just make people feel safer. Money goes where it feels safe. If I don't see any cops around, I'm not going to go around somewhere in Jackson that's been as crime ridden as it has.
Yeah, I mean, and you can see that with Capitol Police. They're in this neighborhood, Bellhaven. They're present, and there's not any crime like there was, because they're everywhere. You see them everywhere. I mean, I always call them the stormtroopers of the empire, because the cars are black and white, And I mean, you can't walk down the street and don't see one drive by, and that just deters crime. It just does.
Yeah, and look, and here's the thing: they don't have nearly as much city to police as they once did because of Capitol Police, so they should be able to be more effective.
Yep.
In theory.
You would think. You would think.
Yep. All right, let's go to this other local story that we have here. Thank you, Sean. Will you remove that super chat from the screen?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, Miss Angela, but it's blocking some of our stuff there. We appreciate it. All right, let me go back over here real quick. This is something I've been tagged in a bunch. I said local. Local is in state Mississippi story. Look, a lot of people sent me this. I'll be honest. I initially, I won't say I ignored it, but I was like, it lacked a lot of context. And I still don't know what the context is. I saw it as I sat down here. This is like 3 or 4 white guys that jumped a black dude on a bridge down in the Natchez area. And they're saying that it ended after a series of altercations, ends with a man being shot and airlifted in Adams County. I don't know who got shot. I don't know who got airlifted. I don't know any of the details. We are watching this and we're doing a live reaction with you guys. So this is about 3 minutes long. Obviously, you recognize those faces. This is from WLBT.
Adams County deputies continue to investigate a series of fights over the weekend.
One of those incidents led to one person being shot and another arrested. The sheriff says Houston Pretty is the latest person charged in the case. He is charged.
That's an unfortunate ass last name, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, for sure. For sure.
Houston Pretty, and he's gonna have a bad day in jail.
With aggravated assault and conspiracy. 3 on Your Side's Chris Fields joins us now to tell you what led to the chaos. Chris.
Well, Maggie, the Adams County Sheriff says everything stemmed from a man occasionally riding his bike to being assaulted by a group of individuals. And get this, it was all caught on video. Everything. He says it's an attack no one should ever have to endure or witness.
It's one of the most heinous things that you can see, because if you watch this video, it'll make the average person who has any kind of compassion in their heart get emotional.
Sheriff Travis Patton admits it was painful for him to watch what appears to be a brutal attack on someone he says was only trying to enjoy an evening of bicycling. Now here's video of that assault that many of you saw on social media on a black man who was now identified as Reginald Butler. Butler was attacked by a group of people near a bridge.
That's the part I can't fucking stand. Excuse my language. It's like, can it just be a man?
Bridge on Deerfield Road Friday.
This guy was riding his bike down the street, and they stopped him and asked for a cigarette, which turned into asking him to fight, calling him all kinds of names.
Sheriff Patton says later that night, Butler returned to that area near the bridge where 2 separate incidents occurred.
Reginald Butler went home for a while, and what he did was he retrieved a weapon before coming back from his residence. He did not return to the original scene of the crime, which we learned later on. But he did get back on his bike and began to ride towards another bridge on Deerfield Road.
That's when Patton says Butler was assaulted yet again.
Things escalated between him and this individual. That individual ended up assaulting Reginald Butler as well. When there was a break in the altercation to where the other individual was no longer assaulting Reginald, he was then shot. Reginald pulled a weapon and shot that individual one time, and after firing multiple rounds at this individual.
Both Butler and the shooting victim, Cameron Talton, who we now know was involved in the initial assault, were arrested. He's charged with aggravated assault and 1 count of conspiracy to commit aggravated assault. Butler has since bonded out of jail.
That was a very emotional thing for this entire community. You could see the pain and the anger and the frustration throughout this community, and that's why we work diligently with our state and federal partners on this case to make the arrests that we made and to be transparent as possible in this case.
Now, the sheriff says they have also reached out to MBI and the FBI about this incident to determine whether or not this is a hate crime. I'm Chris Fields, 3.
I was just listening to say, them boys are getting charged with a hate crime.
What's his name? What's the lawyer's name that'll be down here tomorrow?
Ben Crump.
Ben Crump.
Yeah.
Ben
Ben-
Crump. Man, I could look.
Ben Crump. So did I follow that right? That the guy went and got back and got a gun, then went back, but did he just okay, I'm gonna see if I'm getting this right. He got jumped. We see that. That was heinous and terrible, and these guys are getting everything they deserved. Be clear there, they FAFO champions, all that stuff. But Reginald, the victim, went and got a gun, which, you know what, if I got my ass jumped over there by anybody, I'm gonna put a gun on me if I have the ability to. Then he left and didn't return to the same location, went to somewhere else, and they found him again, and then they jumped him again, and he shot in self-defense because he got arrested.
Yeah.
So was it self-defense? I mean, I'm trying to understand here. That was a bit clunky.
I didn't really understand the
Is it-
scenario. I was kind of confused by the
Sean-
whole thing. I'm not going to be on.
Well, Sean, is it self-defense if you see? I think that you explained this with the Anthony Carmelo when y'all talked about, did he leave the situation and go get a knife out of his car, out of his bag, and come back? Does that make it not self-defense? Because I think that's is that kind of what they were saying here?
If you have the ability to leave and you decide to come back,
It would be
you're
self-defense at
adding
that
gas
point,
to the
right?
fire.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on, like,
Comment.
I think it depends on the distance, I guess you would say. Carmelo Anthony, wasn't he really close in location?
Yeah, he didn't go back and get anything. He had a knife in his backpack the whole time.
Right. So I think it was a little different.
Well, that was the story that was circulating at one point. And I think y'all talked about it on the show. Like, would that make it self-defense or make it not self-defense?
Yeah.
I
I think we ran through a bunch of scenarios there for sure.
I tried a case about a year ago where that kind of scenario came up. Like, what if, you were attacked and you go and retrieve the weapon? Now, the problem is, like, if you go and you have time to go, like, into your bedroom or go out to your car, let's say, that's a problem. I mean, you don't have a duty to retreat in Mississippi, but you also don't have the right to, like, go get your gun and come back and start shooting. Self-defense is all about defending yourself. If you're able to, like, walk away, then you're not really in the process of defending yourself at that point.
All right, let me read the first paragraph here because I think this is written better than it is explained in video.
Because I could not understand the video. I'm sorry.
Yeah, a lot of people saying very confusing story.
Yeah, when we all watched that together for the first time. So it says a man was airlifted after a series of altercations in Adams County. According to the officials, on Friday, deputies with the Adams County Sheriff's Office responded to Deerfield Road following reports of an altercation near a party in the area. While deputies were on their way to the scene, they were informed that an individual had been shot. When authorities contacted the reporting party, they directed them to the suspected location of the shooting. Further down Deerfield Road, deputies found a male suffering from an apparent gunshot wound to the chest. Preliminary investigation revealed that the two separate altercations had occurred near a bridge on Deerfield Road, where multiple individuals reportedly assaulted a man named Reginald Butler. After the initial assault, Butler left the area on his bike, later returned in the direction of the original altercation. 1 mile away on another bridge, Butler encountered an individual believed to be a partygoer. According to witness statements, the individual exited a vehicle and confronted Butler. The confrontation escalated into a physical altercation during which the subject began to assault Butler. In response, Butler fired several shots, hitting the individual in the chest and also striking the vehicle once. Both Butler and the gunshot victim fled the scene following the incident. Butler was later found at his home and taken into custody. The gun believed to have been used in the shooting was also recovered. Emergency medical services took a gunshot victim to the hospital where he was airlifted to a medical facility, or took him to Kingston Ball Field where he was airlifted to a medical facility. Butler was taken to the hospital by deputies to receive treatments for injuries sustained during the earlier assault. Cameron Taunton had been identified as one of the individuals involved in the initial assault. He has been charged with simple assault causing bodily injury. Reginald Butler was being held at Adams County Jail on aggravated assault charges with a $50,000 bond, but has since been released. Was he been released and charges dropped, or just released? Anyway, Houston Lee Pretty.
Really poorly, by the way. This is written very poorly.
Yeah. So I mean, the question is, like, did he go back and get a
I'm
gun?
reading it too. And
Did he go back and get a gun and go look for the same guys? Because I think that wouldn't be self-defense. Or did he go and get a gun and just wanted to have a gun on him in case this ever happened to him again?
Well, here's the last couple sentences. It says, so Houston Lee Pretty, and there's those white guys with 3 names, a 21-year-old, has also been charged after the alleged involvement. Pretty was charged with both aggravated assault and conspiracy to commit aggravated assault. His combined bond has been set to $350,000. The Adams County Sheriff's Office announced Tuesday that they arrested and charged a 16-year-old. He was charged with aggravated assault and conspiracy to commit aggravated assault. So, like I said, when I didn't initially respond to this because the video was all out of context, and I'm even more confused.
I was about to say it's more confusing after you read it. I'm more confused than I was before you read it.
it's not really
I don't have any idea what happened here.
Let me see if I can break this down, because I'm reading it too here on LBT. But it seems like they'd seen this Butler guy and they had gotten into some kind of
And that's the guy. That's the black guy.
That's the guy. Well, I don't know what race he is. I'm just reading, so it's not telling me.
Reginald Butler's the black guy that got jumped in the video.
Right.
Okay. And he leaves on a bicycle. Okay. And then but he returns. And when he returns, the somebody goes and attacks him again. And then at that point, Butler pulls out a gun and starts firing. That's what. Did he
return with a gun?
It doesn't say that in the written article. It just says that, like, he returned to the direction of the original altercation, which I guess maybe the implication is that he went and got a gun and came back. But
the second altercation with when someone got shot, was it the same guys that initially jumped him in the first altercation, or were they different guys?
It doesn't really specify very well here.
Because I think that matters, right?
Yeah, sure. I'm assuming that it was. It seems like, look, I know the writing of this is poor, but I'm assuming that he got into a fight, he left and got a gun and came back. And then he started yelling at each other. And the guy probably hit him again. Then he pulled out a gun and started shooting. That's my guess is what happened here. I mean, if I'm breaking that down, because, like, why is he coming back? Like you're saying, you know what I mean? Like, why would he come back after he just got into a fight? Unless he brought a gun, which is what it seems like happened. Now, though, I will say this. I mean, if he came back and he wasn't doing anything and the guys attacked him again and he pulls out a gun, well, then it's like a reasonableness standard pretty much. Was he like reasonable fear for his life that he needed to use a weapon? And is that, would that be seen as reasonable? Probably not, but
why would you even go back in the direction if there's been an altercation where I don't know?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm just, like I said, this is described
That's
so poorly.
confusing.
It's hard. I'm assuming, just having seen these situations before, is that what happened is he got into a fight with these guys. He went and got a gun and came back and was ready to party. I mean, that's kind of what I'm guessing.
I agree with Angela. I call 911. I don't go get a gun and go back.
Yeah. No, I think that's, and you can't do that. I mean, that's what I was saying before in my example. Like, you can't just get into a fight, and even if you're getting your ass kicked, like, you still just can't go and leave, come back, get a gun, and that's not self-defense.
Yeah, I mean, I've told the story about my friend James Drake that got killed about 20 years ago over in South Jackson.
Yeah, you've told me about that before, right?
And the guy that he beat the crap out of ended up shooting him instead of leaving the party, and woke up in jail the next day and didn't know why he was there, from my understanding. He'd been basically kind of messed up on maybe Xanax or something like that, and drinking and alcohol and everything. And it took 10 years, but he ended up going to jail. I think they charged him with manslaughter, something like that. And he was free for 10 years. They got married, had kids, the whole 9 yards, and then had to go do 10 years or part of a 10-year sentence. But because, yes, it was self-defense to an extent, but he had the ability to leave when James went back inside. He didn't. James came back outside he shot him. That's my recollection. I could get that wrong, so I
think I
apologize
know
to anybody out there, but that's affiliated to friends or family or whatever. I got that wrong, but that's my understanding.
I know you and I have discussed that case before, and I think I remember it too. But they got into a fight outside the bar, right? That's what happened with it.
No, it was so James was a bouncer at the depot at Hallowell's.
I remember it was there.
And they left, and the girl, you worked with her at Schwartz.
Yeah.
So I guess they had dated or whatever, and she came over there with another guy. I don't know if they were doing anything facetious, but 20-year-old guys, early 20 guys, jacked up on testosterone and everything, adrenaline. Your girlfriend, ex-girlfriend rolls over to the house with another guy. Doesn't never fighting words whether that guy realizes it or not.
Yeah.
And James whooped his ass, and then I guess he went back in the house, and I guess they saying the guy could have left, but he didn't, and he'd go into his car, got a gun, and when James came back out, he shot him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
I guess, and I bring this up because this sounds similar to an extent. Like old Reginald could have stayed his ass at home.
Sounds like that from what I'm reading here. It sounds like that, but
and he decided to get the gun and go back in that direction. And sounds like they caught him on a bridge before he got back to the original place the party was. Because I'm guessing there must be some sandbars up under there because all those guys were in bathing suits and all that.
Shot. Which one got shot?
I don't know.
One of the white guys.
Yeah, I think one of the white guys got shot because he's charged with aggravated assault and they're charged with simple assault. So I'm assuming it was one of the white guys, which makes sense.
Two of the white guys are charged with aggravated assault and attempted aggravated assault.
Are they?
Yeah, they're charged. A 16-year-old Houston Lee Pretty is charged with aggravated assault and conspiracy to commit aggravated assault. And then they went back and arrested a 16-year-old, and he was also charged with aggravated assault and conspiracy to commit aggravated assault. But Butler shot somebody. I'm not sure who it was that he shot in the chest.
Yeah.
And that guy says the victim had to be taken to the hospital.
What a convoluted case.
It's a white guy with a
Cameron Taunton was identified as one of the individuals involved as an assault.
Middle name's 3 letters, a double first name, middle name 3 letters.
Lindsay's right. Houston Lee Pretty would be a perfect death row inmate.
I mentioned that. I just said death row, but I said these white guys, these white criminals with their first 3 names or their 3 first names, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, no doubt. He checks off the beating on a black guy. And he just checks off all the boxes.
But let me put it to you this way too, and kind of going back to your case with the guy you knew and the people that I knew in that case where he was convicted of manslaughter. So the fact of this, if you're the DA, okay, I'm just thinking of because I've been in these crappy situations as a prosecutor so many times. So you got to prosecute this Butler guy for aggravated assault for shooting I don't know. Let's just say it was the Pretty dude, Houston Pretty, right? And so you got to prosecute him after Houston Pretty
take that name
had attacked him, right? So that's your case. Ladies and gentlemen, the victim attacked the defendant, and then he went and got a gun and shot him. And sometimes you got a couple people on the jury sitting there like, well, screw that guy. You're gonna have that. Like that's just a shitty case. I would hate it because you're just like, because everybody sucks. Nobody's like everybody sucks. Like there's
it feels like one of those cases where everybody's a little guilty.
Yeah.
Beyond the initial aggression. But I would like to know what led to the initial aggression.
And someone asked, was the altercation on video? So it seems like the initial altercation, or at least part of it, is on video, but it doesn't show what happened leading up to the violence.
And apparently, according to Miss Angela Crump, is coming to Mississippi tonight, and she's
look. There you go. There you go.
She's known for being serious.
Yeah,
man. I know you gotta hate this. I love Ben Crump, man. It's a great grift he's running. You got to respect the game.
But look, did I call it or did I call it?
You did.
I called it.
I respect the grift.
I mean, it is. He runs it good, man. That dude is on top of it. I gotta give it to him. So.
Yeah, Angel, I don't think Sean's going to give any advice on how to get out of a legal situation when it comes to like altercations like this.
Well, it just I've been in those situations where you have your victim sucks. Like that's just a fact of a lot of violent
We have
crimes.
several cases like that.
Well, not comment on cases we have, but
I didn't say any names.
Okay, when you're prosecuting people, a lot of times that somebody's involved, I would say 90% of the time that someone's involved in a murder, they usually suck. I'm talking about the victim, not just the defendant.
It's almost like they like a community improvement killing, but you can't really call it that.
Right,
You still
yeah.
have to
You gotta.
you still have to own up for what they did, even if the world is a better place because of the murder that they committed.
You got to do that, and it's really hard. One of my best examples, and I'll tell Clay the guy's name off the air because he's going to probably know who it is, and I had to prosecute his murder. And he was an infamous Jackson gangster, and he had I think he had something like 16 children. He was like 34 or 35. And the guy I prosecuted was like his brother-in-law, because his brother-in-law killed him on Christmas Day at their in-laws' house. And it's a funny way for this big time gangster to get killed. And so, I'm trying this case and I'm like, okay, how do I make this dude a good victim? Because this guy's because he's killed so many people and everybody knows it. Everybody knows who he is. And you're sitting there before the jury, just trying to pretty this thing up, for lack of better words, and it ain't easy.
Well,
it ain't
it's
easy.
the kid whose mom got that you had, and his mom got beat up, and so he goes across the street and shoots the guy.
Oh yeah, that was different, right? And that case got that hung up, so he wasn't convicted, right?
Yeah, but it's you don't even want to.
Yeah, that's when
prosecute.
You well, I didn't mind prosecuting the gangster case I'm talking about. The other guy was a gangster too, so I didn't mind getting him. So after I convicted him, I remember my boss came to me and said, "Hey, we got a 2-for-1." I said, "Hell yeah!" It was because we got the one gangster got killed and the other one we put in jail for life. So it was kind of like a 2-for-1.
Those are my favorite. One in jail, one in hell.
Yeah, there you go.
But it's so bad because it's what do you have to, sometimes what you have to do is just, in this case, it's to make me think, you just have to be honest with the jury and be like, ladies and gentlemen, my victim sucks, but you still can't kill them or you still can't shoot them. You just kind of have to say it like that. And, they respect honesty. So.
Sometimes.
You can't. Miss Angela did come back and say that was a joke about Crump, but she's calling it that she expects him here tonight.
Well, I mean, I can see it. I can totally see it.
Miss Angela's not heard of a community improvement killing before. That's something that we used to call it at the DA's office, Angela, where...
You probably shouldn't tell people that.
Well, I mean, hey, I don't work there anymore, so I'll see, the secrets are out. I'm not going back. It's when somebody gets killed that...
The world's going to be a better place.
Generally in gangland, drug deal, murder, and you're like, it's a community improvement killing. So that's what we used to call them. And there's a lot. I would say that's the majority of the murders that are prosecuted are usually that, because it's not, you don't really, most of them you don't run. There's not all these great victims like the Hulu documentary on was a wonderful person. There's not a lot of that with people that get killed.
Well, hold up. We talked about women like that the other night, and you and Clay were all like, "Oh, we'll pick better guys," and "Oh, don't go back to someone after they hit you for the first time." And remember?
But that
remember?
But that doesn't make any sense, because I'm not saying it doesn't make somebody a bad person, though. I mean, it doesn't make somebody a bad person. That's a big difference between that and a guy that was a lifelong murdering gangster. There's a big difference between that. So
yeah, that's true.
So yeah, I think that's it. Generally when you're in those situations, it's you're in the bad situation because you ain't the best person, and that's why you end up getting killed. So, unfortunately, or fortunately, whatever. Maybe I don't know.
Glass half full. Glass half full.
You don't know.
Let's see here, man. Let's run through some of the chats real quick and see if there's anything. See if there's anything that anybody hitting on a fresh topic before we shift gears here. Petra Purtis Williams says he was on the way somewhere when he got attacked, got the gun, and headed back to where he was originally going. Yeah, I think that's what we ended up kind of coming up with there. So I think we're all on the same page there. Robin Sweet says if he went and got a gun and came back looking for trouble, then it's kind of premeditated. Yeah. Now I just read earlier, somebody told me that the guy was mentally challenged too.
Well, that's even worse if those guys were beating the crap out of somebody mentally challenged.
Because guy on a bicycle, usually when I see an adult that's main form of transportation is a bicycle, I have some preconceived notions, and that's what it is. What?
Was he on the bike after he got the gun, or was he in a vehicle at that point?
I believe he returned on the bike.
On the bike. Okay.
Well, I believe he was.
So somebody said he was, now again, take that with a grain of salt that he was mentally challenged, but that was what a couple people said that I've seen floating around social media. And I want to know what caused the fight. And I am withdrawing my statement about it being a hate crime. And I don't think it's a hate crime. I think they're going to get charged with that potentially, but I don't know. This is the Trump DOJ, and they're not nearly as quick to to go full hate crime on just because the victims are a different race. But if it was a Democrat DOJ, 3 or 4 white guys jump on a black guy in Mississippi, you can hang it up, son. You can hang it up. But we'll see.
All that without knowing what happened prior. Clay, remember that video that everyone had these opinions about, and I think it was a trooper, and there were clips taken out of it. And remember, the guy started acting like he was seizing, and so many people thought, "Oh, this cop was horrible." And you kept saying, "We need to wait till we get the full video released." And when
Yeah, it was down in Crystal Springs. It was I forget the cop's name. He ended up being Trooper of the Year that year. Once the full video came out, and the guy was pretending that he got choked, and it was epic. That was the one that me and Thomas had our greatest phone call ever about.
completely different story after we got the full video.
Oh yeah,
It's hard to call one of these without knowing what happened prior to what we're seeing.
yeah. Because I'm gonna tell you what, they didn't only record that 10 seconds.
No, there has to be more. There's got to be more.
And that is, and who is recording is obviously not somebody that was with the black guy because he's on a damn bicycle. Was it somebody with the white people, that with them, and they felt confident enough recording this because they think they were going to need to prove something? Kind of like that case over in Georgia where the alleged jogger got killed, and the people who filmed it thought they were doing the right thing by turning it in, and they ended up getting 20 years in jail.
Yeah, I know which one. It wasn't a mod something, right?
Yeah. I'm curious who recorded it and how much didn't get put online. Are we just seeing the worst 10 seconds of it?
Yeah, very
And what
possible.
did and the sheriff said were calling him names. I mean, it kind of felt like he wanted to say they were calling him the N-word, but he didn't say that. I'm curious, is there proof of that? What were they calling him? I just think all this matters if we're talking about escalating to a hate crime.
Yeah.
And then the fact that he didn't get hurt and he went back and got a gun. Well, I say he didn't get hurt. Easy for me to say. I didn't get jumped by the 4 guys, but he didn't get hurt to the point of being disabled and not being able to ride his bike off, go get a gun, and come back. And then I guess they got into it again.
Right.
So if they jumped him the second time, does it really matter if he went back and got the gun, or did he stop them and have a confrontation? I would like to know what led up to the second confrontation, because that's really going to be the one that matters, right?
I don't know what led up to either one of them.
All those, all those cases are really fact specific. Of course, I mean, it just depends.
We don't really have any facts on.
I mean,
he
has a right to ride his bike wherever he wants to. So maybe rode back that way, and they started some shit, and then he said, "Okay."
The victim, if we're going to call Reginald the black guy, we're going to call him the victim, got arrested.
Yeah, charged with aggravated assault. So maybe the way the police looked at it, that it wasn't that, or so. I'm sure they.
Where is Adams County?
Natchez.
Okay.
Southwest Mississippi. Butts up to Baton Rouge down that way, that area. So yeah, this is interesting, but I'm glad that enough of it has come out that it's not just simply a lynching as it was being introduced to me and I say that because we don't need that in Mississippi. We don't need that type of scenario popping off down here. We walk a high wire act when it comes to our racial relations down here. We don't need some idiots doing that. You don't need a Deadman, not Christian Deadman, but the other Deadman.
Yeah, you're so right, Clay. We don't need that. We don't need that at all. But if this was what that was, then shame on them. Obviously, Yeah.
Well, shame on them anyway, because they were 4 guys aggressively going after one guy.
Yeah, on a bike.
Yeah, regardless of what led off to that initial fight. I mean, because I think that's probably what most people want to hear is it doesn't matter. 4 guys jumped on one guy, and I'm with you. I don't think it really matters what was said on that bridge. It's why did 4 guys feel the need to jump on one guy? Have y'all guys got some kind of other microphone or a speaker on in the background or something? We're getting some kind of echo.
I don't think so. You hear something?
No.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it's been going on since we started here. It's like some type of echo kind of comes back with y'all on some of y'all stuff. Anyway, I'm just hearing it on my end.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not hearing it on our end.
No, I mean, I have heard it, but I'm not hearing it right now.
Yeah, it does it every couple of minutes. I don't know. All right. Well, either way, it sounds like something maybe up too loud, kind of coming back through.
See if that resolves it a little bit.
Yeah, maybe
You
turn
know,
it in a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. No big deal. It doesn't bother me. I just want everybody else to, if other people are hearing it, or if it's just something on my end. Anyhow, as Matt would say, don't discuss technical difficulties out loud.
he does bring that up quite a bit.
Well, I mean, I had something I wanted to say tonight. I
Sure.
feel like everyone should go check out Mocha Mugs.
Yes. If you're in Rankin County, support Mocha Mugs. They have 2 great locations. This show is powered by Mocha Mugs. And this is a free advertisement just because I think they're a great locally owned business that needs your support. And be sure to tip $2.
At least $2.
At least $2.
And I mean, I've heard honestly, I'm being completely and totally honest here. I've heard nothing but amazing things about their staff and the owners and how well they run things. So definitely shop local and go check out Mocha Mugs.
Oh, Mocha Mugs is great. We used to go there a lot. There's one right there. They have a drive-through that's in the old bank of the bank apartments right next to Burgers Blues Barbecue where Sutton lives, that building. There's a drive-through right there. That's really cool. And there's another one down in the Exxon parking lot right next to Kroger at the corner of Crossgates Boulevard and 80 there. So 2 great locations to serve you.
Are those the only 2 locations, Clay?
Unless there's one outside of Brandon that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, well, I haven't been there, but I'm on there. I'm a fan of theirs for obvious reasons.
We're gonna have to go
that won't be explained.
We're gonna have to go check that out.
Yeah, I'm definitely going there.
We might even ride over to Brandon, Rankin County, just to get some coffee. And I'm not even a coffee drinker, but I'm willing.
They got a great Mocha Loca Latte Venti double shot espresso that I just love.
Can you say that again, please?
Yeah. A Mocha Loca Latte double Venti cappuccino, add a double shot of espresso.
You're gonna have to text me that so I know what to order.
Yeah,
I don't know what I made that up, but it sounds great.
Right. Sounds good to me. Hey, by the way, so I got there was one that just broke a breaking news story here. Let me
No, you didn't do it right.
What?
Breaking news.
Breaking news. And here it is. Another positive thing on Jackson.
He took the sting off of it with the second time.
What now?
You actually had more. You actually had more. It rolled off the tongue more exaggerative the first time, and you went back and redid. You said breaking news.
Yeah, well, Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade proposes a ban on ski masks tonight in the city council meeting in public.
A ban on what?
Ski masks.
Good for him.
Ski masks.
Did he ban all those COVID masks too? I sure hope so.
It says Jackson Police Chief Joseph Wade proposed an ordinance Tuesday night that would ban the wearing of ski masks in public, citing growing safety concerns. He was speaking during the city council meeting, saying that young men wearing ski masks and no shirts, behavior he described as intimidating, especially when they walk into stores. Wade said criminals know the city has facial recognition and the masks are one way they try to get around it. He spoke with Mayor John Horn and Chief Bo Lucky, who are going to discuss a memorandum of understanding between the 2 agencies. Isn't that right there? A memorandum of understanding between the 2 agencies, something that never would have happened under the Lumumba administration. And something so simple like, hey, guys should not wear ski masks in the stores.
Okay, hold on though, Sean. You and I have had many arguments about this because you believe that the COVID masks were great, go for it. And I said, I think that it could cause more harm than good. Obviously, we know the mask didn't work. And then you've got people who could kidnap children, sex traffic children. You can cover them up with a mask. Nobody knows what's happening. Nobody can tell who someone is by facial recognition. But you still defended the masks.
I defended them. How did I defend the masks?
Because you said you were all for the masks.
Actually, I never said that. That's something I've never said. I've never said I said I don't care if people wear them.
Oh, no. You
That's
said
different than a ski mask.
said what is the harm? What does it hurt anybody to put on a mask?
Yeah, I didn't say I was for them, but I said it's different than a ski mask. I think a medical mask is a different story than wearing a ski mask.
It still covers a face.
I mean, I think you can kind of get a description of somebody even with the medical mask on. The ski mask is a completely
Put some
different animal.
sunglasses on and a medical mask on, and what can you tell about a person?
I guess that would be a little hard. At least you could tell their hair color. But
if they had a hat on, you couldn't.
If they had a hat on, okay, now you're adding another qualifier. What if they had sunglasses? What if they had a hat on? I'm just saying, a ski mask, you can't have any description of them.
We've had this conversation multiple times, and you've argued with me about the fact that, what was the harm? Why did it matter? What was the harm in actually putting a mask on if it's going to save your neighbor? We've had this conversation.
Okay, I'm not going to get into the COVID. I'm just talking about in terms of an armed robbery. I think it's different with the ski mask than a medical mask.
I think if you walk into a retail establishment and you have a mask on, if somebody shoots you, you fucked around and found out. I don't think you should be allowed to walk into a business with a ski mask on and expect anything else but to be presumed, assumed, and stereotyped to be a robber, period. Point blank, end of discussion. And I mean, frankly, I'm at the point where I feel the same way about the face diaper, the little blue face diapers.
I agree.
But especially if you are wearing a ski mask in summer or any other time for that matter, but especially when it's 90 degrees outside, 100 degrees outside, these kids rolling around here and these adults wearing these hoodies for no reason. I mean, the kids wearing hoodies in the summer is the greatest mystery to me. And I can make a Facebook post about this now, and there will be all these adults in the comments talking about, don't be worrying about what them kids is doing. Don't you think it's weird you worrying about what kids is doing? Yes, I'm absolutely worried about what kids is doing, because you can go back and look at the murder rates and look who the most killed demographic is, and it's safe to assume they're also probably doing the most killing. And it's these so-called kids that I'm told not to worry about, that it's weird that I'm worried about them. Don't be wearing a damn ski mask or hoodies out in the summer or any other time for that matter, and inside, and expect people to not look at you like you're a damn criminal. Why else are you hiding your identity? You're a damn criminal, or you want to be. Sorry, not sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, there's absolutely no logical purpose to wear a ski mask at all. I mean, I don't see why you would, why you would ever, except for if you're skiing, and you can't do that in Mississippi.
Or robbing somebody.
Or rob. I mean, you're not going to the ski lifts in Jackson, so there is absolutely no purpose for you. And it's not cold. It never gets cold enough here for you to justify wearing one. There's a lot of other things you could wear.
I get in a cryo chamber that gets down to minus 225 degrees every day, and I don't wear a ski mask. Actually, I get in there naked minus my underwear. So I don't want to hear anybody even talk about it's cold.
Yeah, I mean,
not getting any sympathy from me.
I don't even know. I mean, I don't know what the argument would be. Now,
I was about to say, what would the argument be for allowing ski masks? It doesn't make sense.
Now with the medical masks, I get that they didn't work or they don't prevent, but people were wearing them before. I mean, if you went to the airport,
very rarely,
Asian people, every time I flew, Asian people were wearing a mask.
Asian people always have, because, and I get it, whatever, it's a cultural thing. And I do understand too, Ed Means' brother, Chris, is a cancer survivor. And he has to wear, or had to at one point, and I like Chris a lot. And he explained to me during the COVID thing about the face mask and everything, and the proper way you have to wear those. If you're actually going to wear the blue mask and do it right, you have to, if you touch anything with your hands and you touch the mask, you got to throw it away.
Mm-hmm.
These people that were re-wearing them and reusing them, you are causing yourself, literally causing yourself more harm than good by bringing the germs to your face.
Our kids in kindergarten who trade masks after they've sneezed and snotted and gross.
Terrible.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
But we all agree you don't need a ski mask in Jackson at any time, any day of the year. No way. There's no reason to have one. I mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree with any mask.
But I mean, definitely like a ski mask. Just like what would be the reason of carrying a pair of skis into a store in Jackson, other than to use as a weapon? I mean, you're not going skiing, right? It's just ridiculous. You wouldn't use. I mean, there's things that you can't use here in Mississippi that you don't need to be carrying around. So, I think a ski mask is one of them.
I'm anti-mask all the way around.
I get it. I understand all the way. But yeah, just
I'm not going to back down on this.
I mean, let me put it simply, like, to keep on going with this. If you see somebody walk into a store with a medical mask, you're not immediately thinking they're there to rob the store. But if you see
that might be what they want you to think. They look innocent.
It might be, but most of us are not thinking that. But if somebody's walking into my store with a ski mask, I'm like, oh shit, something's about to go down, because there's no other reason that you could have one on.
Well, for the last 100 years, since robbers and banks became one. Since a criminal, a cowboy, an outlaw, a bad guy decided that you could cover your face and go in a bank and rob it with a gun, it has been frowned upon to walk into places with a mask on. I mean, Hollywood has a whole genre of films about this, and we're all taught from the time that we are old enough to realize what we're watching on TV, that if you walk into somewhere with a mask on, or somebody walks into somewhere with a mask on, they're walking in there to rob said establishment. Why we got away from that, I have no clue. And somehow or another, if you address it, you're called a racist.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, and I do. I'll
Kudos to the chief of police for this. And I would love to see this how the city council addresses it. And I bet you the new little white cuck is going to be the one to say, well, I don't know. I need to make sure that I'm not offending any of the people around Jackson because I don't want to be called a racisms.
Yeah, I guess he would definitely be the one to argue to keep the ski mask. Look, I'm for a ban on hoodies walking down the street. And that maybe that sounds bad, but I've seen in this neighborhood before Capitol Police guys.
But you're okay with medical masks?
Yeah, I think there's a difference between that. Yes, I do. I mean,
let's not argue about masks tonight. About COVID masks, please. We all are very rooted in our beliefs on this. But Sean, hoodies. Let me ask you this. During the summer, right? I mean, during the winter, I'll give people if you want to wear a hoodie in the winter,
well,
I'll
sure,
wear hoodies. Yeah. But if it is, I don't know, above 70 degrees, or if it's not January, February, March, I don't know, you know what I mean? Common sense. If it's cool enough to wear a hoodie, wear one. If you're out there and it's 90 friggin' degrees, anything that's commonly known as summer, I think it's probable cause if the cops want to stop and frisk you.
Yeah, I mean, that's my interpretation of it. And I know there's, next door, I used to see these threads about that. Like, there's kids walking down the street in a hoodie and it's July. What purpose? And okay, maybe if you're like 70 and you've got really bad blood pressure problems and you're really cold all the time, but how many of those guys are just walking down the street? Usually what we see is 18 or 19-year-old kids walking down the street with hoodies on in July with the hood on. And I'm like, okay, that's an issue to me because why are you doing that?
Y'all continue. I'm typing something.
I just think, that, and I used to read all the next door threads about that. They're like, well, you can't really say anything about that because if they want to wear a hoodie, no, you don't need to wear a hoodie in July walking down the street. I mean, especially if you're young, because I mean, you don't have any health problems most likely where you just are naturally like cold because you're taking certain medication. But you're doing that to conceal your appearance, and lo and behold, everybody that, I remember in the summer of 2021 that was getting robbed in the summer here in this neighborhood, they were robbed by somebody wearing a hoodie in the middle of the summer. I mean,
they were Sean. They were robbed by somebody that wanted to hide their identity.
Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, and that's what happened. Our friend Bernie in his driveway, his roommate was robbed in his driveway at like 4:00 in the afternoon, bright daylight out, and the guy came up in a freaking hoodie, in the middle of the summer, and you're like, okay, well, why are you wearing this? Because you're concealing your appearance. That's why. So,
well, anything else? Any other part of that? Anything else other than the headline you read there, as far as the chief asking the council?
And they're gonna investigate. They're gonna decide on that here. So we'll see what happens.
Have they done anything since being sworn in? Anything useful? I'll be honest. I'm as least plugged into Jackson right now as I have been in the last 5-6 years. Like I really felt like I did my part helping get Lumumba out of here, and I've just been kind of enjoying the victory lap, and I haven't really been paying quite as much attention. I hadn't had my finger on the pulse. I want to say one thing real quick. I want to acknowledge Zach's service. So often, you see people run for office, and the second they lose, you never see them again. I want to give kudos to Zach on this one particular thing. Mm-hmm. He is still going to those city council meetings, and he is still wearing them out. And that's rare. You don't see that too often. Zach does it. David Archie does it. Chip does it. So it's interesting to see there are people that run and lose and stay active. Right. So I want to say that kudos. I mean, maybe it's a mental deficiency. Maybe it's a little brain damage. I'm being a little facetious there, but I just thought about that when we were talking about city council, because I know he tagged me in a post about them kicking him out or kicking some people out the other day for no reason. At least that was kind of his stance.
Right. Definitely. Once we got the only story I've got left is, I don't know if we want to go rehash the whole Epstein thing again, but I've got some of the developments today. What happened, especially Trump talking to reporters after he got back from Pittsburgh. I got a video of that.
Who did I see? Oh yeah. You and Fred and y'all have shared this with me today. Is apparently Mike. Is it Mike Johnson?
Yeah, Mike Johnson. Right.
For some reason, it just wasn't sounding right when I said it. Mike Johnson is coming out and demanding. He's going against Trump and demanding the files be released.
Yeah, he's saying that he's saying, look, I think you should release whatever credible. I think he said credible information or wherever I think the people should see it. Something to that effect. That's what.
Did y'all hear the clip of Megyn Kelly decapitating Ben Shapiro?
I happened to watch that today. Yes, I saw that.
I mean, I saw the breaking points
when I saw
breakdown of it, and I mean, it wasn't quite as dramatic as decapitation, or as that I think that she made it, because she kind of, from the Democrat point of view, loves seeing the right on right crime there, the right on right violence. But Megan did put Ben on the spot, and she's like, Ben, you're going to have your millions. Don't expect people to identify themselves. And I'm always conflicted on the anonymous leakers and whatnot. I'm like, man, put your name on it. But Megan's not wrong. These people aren't going to risk their careers, putting their name on something. You're just going to have, if you're going to have anonymous sources, you either got to trust them or not. And she's chose to trust hers.
Yeah, I saw that. And obviously, Ben is backing the administration, backing Patel and Bongino and Bondi on
which
this.
Is interesting, because he's not really a Trump supporter, and I've said this forever. And people get mad at me because people have this strange obsession with Ben Shapiro. I'm like, Ben doesn't really like Trump, and he didn't even vote for him in 2016.
Yeah, I think maybe the possible Epstein Israel connection. Maybe that's it. I don't know if that's
he wants it to go away. I mean, anything that points to, we're being anti-Semitic right now, even talking about this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that
according to Ben.
Right. That's what I assume is where his angle, because he's been so pro-Israel. I'm sure all his life. I get it. I mean, he's like an Orthodox Jew, I believe, and and especially the last couple of years, ever since October 7th of 23. So yeah, I could see that this is a line in the sand for him. That's the way I kind of took it.
I mean, anything to do with Israel is a line in the sand for Ben Shapiro.
Oh yeah, friendship. Yeah, I mean, look at him and Candace Owens aren't even really friends anymore.
Well, that has been an interesting thing to watch. I have always, anybody who's asked, I've always said I felt like Candace is a bit of a grifter. Personally, I don't really trust her completely. Mm-hmm. But something interesting has happened since her and Ben Shapiro has fallen out. She has gone, and she is fully committed to basically being as anti-Israel as you can be without just coming flat out and saying that you're anti-Israel. I mean, she is not playing any of it. She is exposing everything she can to prove her point. Like, Ben really pissed her off. I mean, he has turned her into a anti-Semite, to use their language. That has been an interesting thing to watch from afar.
Yeah, it certainly is. They've been going at it, and Candace has gone full on. Like, sometimes she's a little over the top. I mean, I like a lot of things she says, but
me too.
She's hard on this. She's pretty hard on the whole Israel thing. So
it's not, and it's not grifter status either. It's like she is really pissed off, and like, it's personal. This isn't grifting. It has gotten personal, and she has made this her thing to get under Ben's skin.
Yeah,
what it feels like.
But I did,
because she's got an audience.
She does. Well, before we run out of here, I do have this one clip. It was interesting. So President Trump did address this afternoon when he got back from Pittsburgh, and I got the clip real quick. It's pretty short.
Sure.
I know you've urged people to move on, but I'm curious, why do you think your supporters in particular have been so interested in the Epstein story and so upset about how it's been handled?
I don't understand it. Why they would be so interested. He's dead for a long time. He was never a big factor in terms of life. I don't understand what the interest or what the fascination is. I really don't. And the credible information's been given. Don't forget, we went through years of the Mueller witch hunt and all of the different things, the Steele dossier, which was all fake. All that information was fake. But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff. It's sordid, but it's boring. And I don't understand why it keeps going. I think really only pretty bad people, including fake news, want to keep something like that going. But credible information, let them give it. Anything that's credible, I would say, let them have it.
So that is a bit of a change of tune to an extent with the credible information comment. Let them have the credible information. I mean, does that give them an out because they don't have any credible information? that they want to release? I mean,
well, what is that?
who defines what's credible? I think that's what Megyn Kelly brought up too in that thing with Ben was who defines what is credible and what's not. That's an awfully broad term.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I mean, I don't know what is he? I mean, weren't they supposed to release all the credible information already? Wasn't that the plan? I thought they were supposed to do that already. You know what I mean?
Man, yeah. Look, dude, I'm exhausted with this, but I want to keep talking about it because we got to. I'm telling you, Trump's at the point he's fixing to break. His tune has changed. He's going to break on this, but when he realizes that people aren't letting it go. Now, there's people around him I think are, and I'm curious if it's Trump or if it's people or if it's some of his. I don't feel like Trump has handlers, but people in his immediate circle that have interest, so to say, are they trying to downplay this to him where he just kind of rides this whole thing of letting it go. But as MAGA, and referring to MAGA as his supporters, the outside looking in, are we going to be so loud that he can't ignore it? And I feel like that's the direction this is going. I hope, maybe it's wishful thinking. I hope that's the direction this is going because we got to have some kind of rectifying. They got to have a real press conference. I'm going to stand by this. Even if you get to the same end result, let's take a straight line to that end result and put it all out there for everybody to see and explain to us how we got there. The leak to Axios and just hoping this story just goes away it's like if you had 10 options and that being the 10th and worst, that's the one they chose. You chose the worst possible way to try to make this story go away. When I feel like there were so many other ways that you could have got to the same result of not giving us anything, and people have been way more satisfied.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's
maybe I'm saying lie to me. I don't even know what I'm saying with that, but I just feel like, just as a guy that talks for a living, I could have found a better way to do this.
Yeah, and they've handled it pretty poorly. And even in that video right there, I know he says release credible information, but he also says this case is really boring. Well, I'm kind of like, Donald, does it look boring to everybody else? I don't think anybody thinks it's boring, whether you're on the right or the left. Everybody thinks it's pretty interesting, and they're making it more interesting now because of their actions.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there's a this weird part of me that literally looks at this as just a job, for clicks and views or whatever. For us, for this as content creators, please continue to screw this up.
Yeah, I just wonder where this goes. Like, do they eventually? I mean, because here's the problem. So what do they do?
Have to do a real show prep in 2 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, what do they do? So like, they can't just all of a sudden be like, okay, we were messing with y'all. Here's the list. Can they do that now? I mean, I don't know if they can do that now at this point. They can say, here's the list.
There has to be a fall guy if they do that.
Yeah, something like that, right? They just can't be like, yeah, we just look, And
then they gotta die so they don't ever talk about it. And that creates a whole nother layer of conspiracy. So it's a lot of movement, but this is going to be real fun to watch. But Sean, I stand by what I said when you talked about this, the day all this crap happened. We talked on the phone and I said, okay, I know it's conspiratorial, but hear me out. Expect some type of big black swan event, 9/11 type event, something massive that takes our eye and our attention completely away from this. And it's so big and so bad that people just completely instantaneously lose interest in this. And I feel even stronger about that today than I did a week and a half ago whenever this first happened.
Yeah, that's what Lindsay keeps saying, the same thing. She thinks something's going to happen to knock it out, or we're not.
And I'm not saying that it's our government's going to do it. Something else could happen. I don't know. I've got this spidey sense that something's going to happen and it's going to take our attention away from this and we're never going to get resolution to it. And people are going to, it's like the cat chasing the lasers, just on to the next thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it could happen. We'll see. I mean, I just wonder, how long this can continue. Like if it keeps on going. I mean, is this going to be like the way the Monica Lewinsky scandal was, and when it lasted for a couple years, we kept on talking about it because that was the way the news worked back then, and it's just always in the news. It just seems like it could be that kind of a story. So I don't know.
I think it just inevitably, I believe that most people will get tired of talking about this if they give us nothing. Like it feels like the Trump admin right now, it's just ride it out and see if they'll just quit talking about it and tell all the people that we control, your Charlie Kirks of the world, your Ben Shapiro's of the world. Tell them, your Benny Johnsons of the world, these big time conservative content creators who kind of drive the ship a little bit, tell them to quit talking about it or they'll lose their access. And these guys depend on access for their platforms to be as profitable as they are because they don't have really good, strong, great opinions. They're access based platforms where we're opinion based. People aren't chiming in or watching us because we have access to inside sources in the White House. People listen to us because we have opinions that they value or despise or just think are so ridiculous they listen to us to laugh at us. And that's fine. Either way, as long as you're listening, I don't care what got you here. So our platforms are going to be fine either way. But these guys like Shapiro and especially Benny Johnson and Charlie Kirk, who 100% depend on access to information that we don't have. And if they get that, they're basically being told, in my opinion, that if you continue to talk about this, you're going to have your access cut off. And they're hoping that if they quit talking about it, the national narrative changes. And I think it's going to blow up in their face. I don't think people are ready to quit talking about it. 2 weeks from now, maybe a different story. But right now, I think these big time national content creators that are choosing to stick their head in the sand and hope this just goes away because they were told to, are just sending more and more people to us. And I'm here for it, baby. I will talk about it. And I can sit here and say I can criticize Trump and still support Trump. And that is my stance on this.
Yeah, I think people have been kind of knocking on Kirk right now because they're like, because he's like, I'm not going to talk about it now. They're like, really, Charlie? I mean, he got a lot of shit today for that.
Mm-hmm. As he should. Do not be a prisoner to your audience.
He's not going to continue to speak on what he believes. Then that says a lot about his character, in my opinion.
Do not be a prisoner to your audience. If your audience thinks that you have to agree with them 100% of the time, or they have to agree with you 100% of the time, and they're going to be so fickle that they leave over one thing, don't let the door hit you in the ass on the way out, is my philosophy.
Megyn Kelly has been doing some really good coverage on this thing. I don't know if y'all are watching her.
I watch Megyn Kelly every day.
And she said something today that really stuck out to me. She said, look, she was talking about
phenomenal.
Her what now?
Her career turnaround has been phenomenal to watch, from where she was to where she went to where she's back to.
She's like my role model. Like, I want to be Megyn Kelly when I grow up.
Yeah, I tell you, I mean, because I loved her, then I hated her, and now, I don't know if I love her, but I respect the hell out of her.
I've never not loved her. I think
of course, it's easy. It's easy to go independent and do what she's doing when you get that big of a settlement from NBC. So, I mean, I will say that, you get $20-30 million to go away. Being able to turn on the old YouTube machine and be honest is a lot easier when you got a golden parachute. But neither here nor there. She could have just shut up and never said anything and enjoyed her money and disappeared. But she decided to get in the fight. So I respect the hell out of her.
Yeah, what she said today was that that she has a lot of friends in the administration. That's why she has access, but that she refuses to become like CNN did during the Biden stuff, where they were covering up for Biden's mental condition. She says, I'm not doing that. That's not my job. I'm a journalist. I cannot. She's like, if I'm going to offend some people that are my friends in the administration, well, that's just part of it because this is my job. And I don't want to be CNN and what they did.
She's never going to bow down to someone just because they're in control at that point in time.
Yeah, that made me
stand by her values. I mean, yeah,
she's a
very respectable woman.
Yeah, I mean, there's been some of these, some of these conservative influencers that really have. I mean, you got to admit, like, it takes a lot of balls to say, all right, Donald, screw you right now. Like, that's what a lot of them are doing. I mean, and that's not easy when that's your side. That's your side where you've got access to, and you're telling them like, no, this ain't cool. We ain't cool.
She was at that Turning Point event this past weekend, and she said, I just keep going back to what I saw and what people said to me. And so I understand this is important, and I'm not going to just shut up about it because that's what I'm being told to do.
Yeah, really, really, really a lot of respect for Megyn Kelly after that. And there's been others too. I mean, I think Tucker is holding the line. Like, he's going to say what he thinks. Like, he is that guy. Like, he's going to do that. And he's built up enough cachet over the years, I think, also, if that helps him. But, he's another one where he's just like, nope, this is the way I'm going to tell it. I don't care. And this could hurt, people like Megyn Kelly and, maybe not Tucker as much, but definitely Megyn and that group with their careers by going after Trump the way she is right now, which is something I didn't expect. I didn't think she would do that, but she really is.
I don't know. I think Megan's got a backbone, and she's gonna speak on what she feels and what she believes in, and regardless of who it bothers.
Yeah.
Hey, before we get out of here, did y'all see? And I played a clip of it. I played a clip from this podcast on my show today, but I didn't see this till after my show, where Joe Rogan ambushed Gavin Newsom on Sean Ryan's show.
I didn't see that.
So Sean Ryan had Gavin Newsom, I'm sorry, on his show, and he does a thing where his Patreon supporters get to ask questions. Well, Joe Rogan became a Patreon supporter and got a question in for Newsom. Let me see it, because it was about his draconian COVID restrictions. Lindsay, there's your word there, draconian.
Hey, Sean called me draconian on my show. On our show, I was called draconian. I said, "What, for saying we should follow the laws?"
Newsom, Rogan, Sean Ryan. So I thought I had the clip already, but it was a bunch of other random damn clips.
Remember when you called me draconian this week?
Yeah, I remember. Right.
All right. I think I got it here. Give me 2 seconds. Let me just. I hope. Dang it. Where is it at? Governor Newsom, point blank questions. Damn it. Always great. You know, this should be the easiest. I mean, everybody's talking about it over here, and then like none of the clips are actually the full. I'm going to roll the dice here and hope that this little teaser here has got enough of it in there. If it doesn't, guys, I apologize. I thought everything, it was trending on X. I thought I had the full thing here. Let's give this a whirl.
Anybody want to know what I think of when I hear draconian? I think of Dobbs and Fauci.
Yeah, I think of Tate Reeves not letting people out on the reservoir in their boats by themselves. You know, couldn't even let folks get out on their boat by themselves on the reservoir. That's pretty damn draconian.
I think of Biden standing in front of that White House with all the red lights behind him, like he was in hell, like it was Satan.
Oh, it was very Hitler-esque. I mean, they love the left loves to talk about the right and Nazis, and I mean, they channeled their inner Nazis so much. It was like, you guys can't make this up. You're calling everybody a Nazi, and here you go with like literally, you might as well have had the red banners drop down with the swastikas on it.
Yeah.
All right, let's play this here. Let's see. Sean, can you pull that up? Is it already up?
It's up.
Okay.
Joe Rogan texted me.
Mother Joe, you ain't a fan of mine?
Nobody wants President Newsom either. The guy's a con man.
But I'm a Joe Rogan fan. No bullshit.
So this is from Joe Rogan.
Oh, God.
This is a tough one. Who will be held accountable for mandating COVID-19 vaccines for children, which were unnecessary and ineffective? And who will take responsibility for the unprecedented increases in myocarditis and cancer cases among them? Second to that, do you feel any remorse for that draconian decision that was obviously heavily influenced by the pharmaceutical companies?
I've signed some of the most progressive laws against big pharma in the country, so I have receipts on that. And I know everyone's a goddamn genius now in hindsight, but at the time, none of us knew what we were up against, including the President of the United States, who I worked very closely with. Looking back, I remember Florida, there was a big issue too, even there, not just in California.
No, I mean, it was in Florida. I remember that they had that cruise ship off the coast of Florida that was just stuck there.
All right, so that's all it is. And they kind of go on, and I encourage y'all to find that clip or go back and listen to the podcast. It's free on YouTube on the Sean Ryan channel there. I have heard the whole clip, and Gavin just does typical Democrat bullshit where he deflects. The problem is comparing Florida. Florida realized really early on that they overreacted and they pivoted back to normality. California quadrupled down.
The free state of Florida.
You know, California quadrupled down. Mississippi drug it out as long as they could. We weren't much better than California on a lot of things.
Clay.
Lindsay, look, I know you don't want to lose your access to people and you and all that stuff, but look, be honest here. Tate Reeves was a complete idiot during COVID.
For the initial first part, but we opened up way before so many other states did. I was in Alabama, I mean, right next door to us, and you could even walk into a hotel without a mask on. And this was way after we had done away with masks. We weren't far behind Florida. We weren't far behind compared to the rest of the country.
Let people get on their boats on the reservoir,
which is insane. But that didn't happen here nearly as long as it did across the country.
He wouldn't let people walk into restaurants without mask on until they got to their booth, and then they could take it off. He wouldn't let people stand up in a restaurant with a beer in their hand.
None of it makes
I could go on. You couldn't have live entertainment in the corner playing a guitar at restaurants. I could go on and on and on and on and on. We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to, because I know that we did all of that way before so many other states did. We were not one of the last ones. We were not close to California when it came to any of that. Although I didn't agree with any of it to start with, obviously.
And then we could go on. We could get into the schools and masks and all that other stuff too. That was absolutely asinine. So, but neither here nor there.
I was speaking at every school board meeting. I pulled my kids out of school. Trust me, I was in it. I disagreed with every single bit of it.
Yep. And it shouldn't have happened.
No,
so I can still criticize it. Because I'm going to. So, I mean, and it should have ended way sooner than it did. And just saying it wasn't as bad as California is setting the bar mighty low. Mighty low. But with that said, the Newsom interview with Sean Ryan and the Joe Rogan question was phenomenal. And he really took him to task on it. And I just got to thinking about all the crazy things that came out of California during all that, like filling a skate park with sand so kids couldn't play, closing the beaches, cops chasing people in their little paddle boats and all that. Single man. I mean, we're going to look back. And I'm just shocked that more politicians haven't been held accountable at the polls, that so many people got reelected post-COVID. I really, really am. I thought that there would be
Brandon Presley?
I thought there would be a cleansing. Do what?
I said, who were we going to elect? Brandon Presley?
No, I mean, can Republicans who got primaried by the Republicans? I'm just saying, I'm just shocked across the country that more politicians didn't pay the price at the polls. Was really surprised across, not just in Mississippi, across the country. So, but look, people like tyranny, especially in Democrat cities. They like, give me some more of it. Give me more of it. I was shocked that Chokwe got reelected as bad as he fumbled the ball during COVID and everything else. But they were like, yeah, I want 4 more years of this. God dang it.
Yeah, and he also didn't have anybody running against him. It was really bad. Remember that year? There was the opponent quality was very low, unfortunately.
But, looking in hindsight, any of them would have been better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. But he didn't really have a organized effort against him in 2021 like he did. And I mean, he probably would have beat John Horn in 21, if I'm being honest. He probably would have beat him then. Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, also Tate let Dobbs run wild for a long time. So anyhow, all right. We got anything else? We want to read some comments before we get out of here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Let's see here. Tiffany, I'm just going to start at the top or the bottom, however it is here. Tiffany says, I like the doctor that you had on your show. What was the doctor's name?
John.
What is it?
John.
I know him and his wife were nice folks. And he was he was big on the COVID stuff. John Witcher.
Oh, the guy that ran in the primary against Tate. Was that it?
Yeah. John Witcher. Yeah. He has stayed pretty active too. I see them on social media a lot. Yeah. Let's see here.
Brooke is super active. I don't know why I couldn't think of Witcher, but yeah, Brooke is super active and she's a very, very sweet person.
Yeah, Brooke. I see her all the time. I hadn't seen John. I see Brooke on social media a lot doing stuff. Dan says, I was mowing grass during COVID and didn't give a F who had a problem with it. Well, I'm sure somebody could probably call the cops on you now. You can't be doing stuff outside, especially on a boat near the reservoir. JT says, I agree. I'm also surprised Fauci isn't in federal prison, but here we are. Now,
they're still working on it. They're working on it.
We didn't talk about it last night, but I did talk about it on the show yesterday, I think. I can't remember if y'all talked about Autopen or not, but this Autopen stuff is getting pretty.
We talked about that tonight and we didn't do it.
Yeah, this Autopen stuff, these pardons have all been proven to have been done by an aide and Autopen without direct approval from Biden. This is getting interesting. We're going to test. I just think it's going to be interesting just to test the legality of these pardons, or the strength of them, or whatever word I'm looking for here is to test the legality of these pardons, these broad, multi-year pardons like this. I think they should absolutely be illegal. I don't think you should be able to say, all right, we're going to pardon this guy for the last 8 years. Hold on, this goes back to before COVID. We're going to give a pardon back before COVID? Son, should not be legal on any level. You shouldn't be able to do that. That is really, really weird. So we're gonna find out. The J6 committee, they didn't do anything illegal. What did they need a pardon for? Where's that evidence they allegedly destroyed?
I also think there's a legal specificity problem in my mind, and what I mean by that is, a blanket pardon. I think it needs to be specific to the crime. Like you are being pardoned for, whatever, forgery or, fraud or whatever it is. Like, I just don't know that you can say, well, here's a pardon, and, in case you did anything. Like, I just like that there needs to be a little more legal clarification on that. To me, it seems to me we need to be. It always has been specific.
And you have to assume that Fauci's on the phone with somebody saying, you got to give me, here's the things that they're going to try to say I did. You're going to have to give me a full pardon because I did this, 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 and this. I mean, this was not some accident. This was not some random pardon. Let's pardon Fauci to own the conservatives, to own the publicans. They know that he did some really, really foul trash, and they're trying to protect him, which that is
completely and totally
as bad as the Epstein stuff, if not worse. Honestly, this is what Fauci did is a million times worse than what Epstein did, because Fauci is responsible for the death of millions of people.
Yeah, you're talking about in terms of like the gain and function. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at, I would think that's.
And I'm not even talking about the vaccine stuff, but the gain of function and all of that. He's responsible for the death of millions of people if it's proven, which it seems to have been proven, that COVID came from the gain of function stuff. And if Fauci was a part of that, he deserves whatever the worst case scenario possibly is for him.
Yeah, the only time that they've done that preemptive stuff, I think, was Gerald Ford did that for Nixon, if I remember correctly, and that's the only one that I know of that's happened before. And but Nixon's crimes were kind of obvious at that time what they were going to be. You knew what they were. It wasn't like kind of like we don't know what Fauci did here. He may have done a lot of things. You just don't know exactly what they are, or whomever else that were in those things. Hunter Biden, the Biden family. But Nixon was pretty obvious, that what he did in regards to Watergate. So that's the only time it happened, though.
And not to get into a Watergate discussion, but that is just comical at this point. I mean,
right. Yes. Yeah. A bit. A bit. It's
severity and things that would even be a crime, and all the things presidents have gotten away with or been accused of or done or whatever. Watergate is just another day at the office.
Yeah. I mean, as far as my recollection, I think Nixon knew about it beforehand, or afterwards, but I can't remember which one it was. But he wasn't involved in the planning of it or anything like that. He wasn't involved to that level. It was just like he was apprised of it later and then lied about it. So that's so I mean, I think I don't know if that would be as big a deal today.
No. I mean, just think about the stuff they did to Trump during the 2016 election. I mean, the run up, bugging his office and just all that stuff. I mean, all that stuff is Watergate level, so.
Yeah, all they did. I don't even know if they bugged the Democratic headquarters back then. I think they just stole some file. I'd have to research that again. I can't remember, but I know they stole a lot of files and took pictures of stuff. And
I was thinking they had bugged it, but maybe the technology might not even have been there at the time to bug something. I don't know, but that would have been in the 70s, right?
Yeah, the 72. Well, it was part of this 1972 campaign against McGovern.
Yeah.
The funny thing about that is Richard Nixon kicked the ever living shit out of George McGovern. So it wasn't like it was a close race. Like they needed extra help, like he killed him. It was a total ass kicking.
I want to say one thing. One more comment here. Clayton Duncan says, people not being able to see their loved ones as they passed away, and it's just seeing all this stuff again. And that's not something I experienced personally, but having to see so many other people suffer through the pain of that, just absolutely nauseating. And I'm just getting furious over here again, just thinking about the draconian things that went on in a state like Mississippi during COVID. Well, when we claim to be a super red state, again, we're not red. We're not as red as we claim to be. But that is my rant and my 2 cents on all this. I thought we had a great show tonight, guys. Thank y'all.
Yeah, thanks.
It's funny, but there has been a bill that has been presented numerous times since COVID that, the No One Left Alone Act, and that would stop anyone from ever having to die alone again. And you'd be surprised at the people who vote against it.
Shit, I wouldn't. Nothing would surprise me when it comes to people. And if it's a threat to their powers, then they're never going to give it up, even if it doesn't affect them during their term or their time down there. They're like, I don't want to be part of the people that gave up the powers. It's like them voting to give themselves a pay decrease. It ain't never going to happen. And that's the problem.
Chris McDaniel voted for that.
Yeah, and I voted for Chris. And I voted for Chris. And where's he? There is some rumors that Chris could be running for governor.
He's not done. He'll be back.
No, he's not done. He's got too big of a following. He's got too big of a following. But with that said, a lot of his followers apparently aren't voters, not in Mississippi, because if who's popular on social media matters, he would have skull drug Delbert. So you just never know. You never know. It's weird when you get these politicians who become internet celebrities, but they can't win elections in their state. They can't win statewide elections. It's really weird how all that works. So I'm a Chris supporter. I've interviewed him, openly supported him, would support him again if he decided to run today. Well, I don't know. It depends on what he's running for, who he's running against, but I would definitely consider him for sure for any office. So, all right, well, look, I'm going to eat something, guys. Fun show tonight. Commenters, viewers, appreciate everybody on my end. And I'll be on the radio in the morning, 7 a.m.
Yep, we'll see you tomorrow at 12 to 1 p.m.
We'll be there.
Right.
Have a good. Peace.